Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my review of One Piece. I don't know why I said it like that, but welcome back. It's me, GOCARLO, and this is when it gets good, guys. Alright, so where did we leave off last time? Because I've been reviewing everything from the beginning to... we reviewed it all, man, from Thriller Bark to Sabaody to my last video was on Amazon Lily, and this is when it gets good, guys. We're on Impel down. You know, the crew got separated from each other. Luffy went and met Boa Hancock on the Amazon island, and she's one of the 7 warlords of the sea. But they need her at Impel down for something important that's about to go down. So Luffy wins her over. She's lovesick for Luffy. They sneak onto Impel down together to save Luffy's brother Ace. So Impel down is a prison with many different levels. So, you know, Boa Hancock has to get security checked and inspected. So Luffy and her have to separate, and we're gonna mention, you know, the key points of the story. So on the first level, you know, the not very, you know, what would be known as like the not very high level threats are on level 1. That's where Buggy the Clown has been since the beginning of One Piece. You know, he acts tough, like he's a big, you know, villain, but here he is with a whole different look, and him and Luffy partner up, and they're gonna get out of there. And it's really cool. There's different things going on different floors of Impel down. But they do run into more people from throughout early on One Piece. And it actually makes me want to go back and reread the earlier parts of One Piece so I could see a lot of these characters' origin stories, because it had been so long that I didn't even remember. But we see, you know, Mr. 3 and Bon Clay, and Luffy, you know, is there to rescue Ace. So we see Ace, you know, locked up, and he's also there with another warlord of the sea, Jinbei. And Jinbei got locked up because they're taking away his title of warlord of the sea because he didn't believe in Ace's execution. So they're taking away, you know, him being warlord of the sea, and he's there with Ace. So what happens is, while Ace is locked up, we see his grandpa, right? Monkey D. Garp. And they start talking about their history together and Ace's backstory. They start talking about his name and all types of stuff. I'm gonna wait a second till I review more on that. But Luffy is trying to make his way down Impel down. Like I said before, we run into Buggy, we run into Mr. 3, we run into Bon Clay, and they're a great team. I almost like them more than Luffy's, you know, normal team. Which, remember guys, the rest of them, Nami, Zolo, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brooke, they're all in separate parts of the world right now. So Luffy's on his own here, and I'm probably forgetting a lot, but you know, many battles happen. There's a warden of Impel down. You know, there's a few people who are, you know, trying to keep everything under control, but they get into a battle with Luffy, and the warden actually has poison powers. So they warn Luffy, don't get caught with that, but he gets hit by the poison and he gets knocked out. And what happens is everyone gets knocked out there. So what happens is they have to rescue Luffy, and they make it to a bar in the middle of Impel Down where they find the doctor. So what happens is they find Dr. Ivankov and they warn him that Luffy, remember, something I might have not mentioned is there's a time limit. They keep reminding us how much time is left until Ace's execution. And they warn us that for Luffy to recover, that it's gonna take longer than when Ace is supposed to get executed. But long story short, Luffy recovers before, the expected time. But a lot of time did pass. So Ace is supposed to get executed soon now. But Luffy's awake, he eats, he recovers. Mr. 3 and Buggy the Clown were separated from Bon Clay and Luffy. So what happens there is Buggy actually frees all the prisoners, and he becomes a legend. They all serve Buggy now, and Luffy gets revived, and they have to go find Ace. But Ace is now gone. But at the same place where Ace was is Jinbei and Crocodile. Maybe I didn't mention that Crocodile is on the same floor as Ace, and there's some more bad guys. Instantly, everyone joins Luffy, and it's such a good team. It's such a good team. So far, I've been talking about, this part, the Impel Down prison, and then, I was talking about a lot of the team up between Buggy, Mr. 3, and Bon Clay. But then here is when Luffy, Crocodile, Jinbei, Ivankov, and Mr. 1, and I forget their name, but they can cut through. Hold on, this is important. Inazuma, so Inazuma can cut through anything, basically. So it's such an awesome team. They team up together, and now they have to escape Impel Down. They have to rescue Ace, because Ace is not there anymore. He's on his way to the execution. Somewhere along the lines, Blackbeard pops up. Is probably something I should mention. And Luffy and Blackbeard have an encounter, and Luffy didn't even remember Blackbeard, of course, but they do share some blows, but they gotta get out of there. They escape Impel Down, but there's no ships waiting for them. What happens is they tell Luffy and everyone to jump, but Luffy isn't the only devil fruit user. There's also Buggy, so they can't swim. But remember, Jinbei is a fishman, and with his powers, he controls the ocean and the fishes and the aquatic life, and they get onto a ship and they make it to Marineford. So in this part, there's a lot of funny jokes with Captain Buggy. Captain Buggy is kind of like Hercule from Dragon Ball, and it's so funny, what happens to him. What happens next is we're in Marineford, we're at Ace's execution, and what happens is Whitebeard. So one thing I probably skipped over was Ace's backstory. Either way, all the details get jumbled up, but I'm gonna reveal it all right now. So Whitebeard pops up to save Ace, They also reveal Ace's past, how he is really the son of Gold Roger, because up until now you assumed that they revealed who Luffy's father is, Monkey D. Dragon, who we're yet to learn more about, but now they're revealing that in fact Luffy and Ace have different parents. And up until this point they already revealed that Ace changed his name, but now we realize why. Like, because Gold Roger was supposed to be executed, Ace's mother somehow delayed the birth so it wouldn't be suspicious, changed the name of Ace. And we also get a flashback of Monkey D. Garp and Gold Roger, where Gold Roger tells Garp to take care of his son because the newborn shouldn't be hated, you know? I'm probably saying that wrong, but basically he doesn't deserve, you know, the same treatment as me. But that's something with Ace, that Ace didn't want to be known as the son of Gold Roger because people hated him for it. So he went to Whitebeard, and with Whitebeard we're all sons of the sea. And they show Ace, you know, running into Shanks, and there's a scene where they talk to each other. They find out that they both know Luffy because Garp and Luffy and Ace, you know, Garp raised the both of them. So Whitebeard shows up and he could just crack the air and the sky, and he is about to destroy everyone to get to Ace. And what happens eventually, I guess Luffy falls out of the sky and it's time. But there's a lot of battling, and then there's also a lot of conspiracies and controversies. They think that Ace, by the way, this whole execution is being broadcasted. This whole execution is being shown on TV around the world and in Sabaody, you know, the place that we had already seen, you know, being a rich part of the world that, you know, they have auctions and they have cities, so it would make sense for that part of the world to be watching this, I guess. What happens is they make a conspiracy that Whitebeard sold everyone out, but that was not true. And when you least expect it, Whitebeard actually gets stabbed, but he doesn't hold it against them. But Whitebeard winds up taking a lot of damage, and a lot of people even attempt, you know, to be the one to kill him, but it's only that one random, you know, person who's actually one of his own that got him, only because he was getting older. But even throughout this battle, there's like Kuma shows up and so many other people are battling Luffy along the way to get to his brother, that Luffy can't fight a full-fledged battle like this right now. You know, he can't. They also revealed that that Kuma is no longer alive, and they cloned him, and it's crazy. But along the way, Luffy runs out of energy, because they did warn us before that when they powered up Luffy, it's gonna be temporary. So they're like, are you sure? If you want another power up, it's gonna be temporary and you might die. You're gonna crash really hard. They give him another power up and he's ready to make his way up to Ace. So eventually he makes his way to Ace. Another thing is when it's revealed, you know, that Ace and Luffy have different parents, you know, a lot of the characters even make that realization that Ace and Luffy are not actually brothers. But it is revealed that, you know, because they grew up together and they share this bond, that's why they're brothers. So Luffy has the key to unlock Ace. But remember, guys, there's 3 admirals. What are the admirals' names? So there's Sengoku, a Koji, or there's Sengoku, there's Kuzan, and then there's Sakazuki, and then there's Kizaru Borsalino, all the admirals, right? So I covered this part, right? And then now we're on this part, because this has Whitebeard on the cover. It's a great cover. But now this is the part with the Navy admirals, and Luffy is trying to save Ace. And remember, Garp is there, and he's conflicted because he's not on Luffy and Ace's side. So Luffy actually needs to stand up to Garp too to get to Ace. But they shoot the key right out of Luffy's hand. But Mr. 3 comes through and gives him a candle key. Something else I didn't mention is to even get to Marineford to save Ace, one person did have to make a sacrifice, and that was Bon Clay. Bon Clay stayed in Impel down to help everyone else escape. So right now it was Mr. 3, the other one of the OGs, that help Luffy escape. But they do get Ace's handcuffs off, and they go crazy. You know, even before this, Luffy unleashed Haki, not only here in the Battle of Impel Down, but back in Impel Down, and now in the Battle of Marineford. Even before this, Ace was screaming out, you know, not to save him. He didn't want to be saved. He was just trying to save everyone else. But now there's so many people who have come to save Ace. You know, all of Whitebeard's army and so many other pirates. And now they finally, you know, took the handcuffs off of Ace. There's one admiral that has magma compared to Ace's fire. And at the very moment that Luffy, you know, is in trouble, Ace doesn't hesitate to save Luffy. And unfortunately, it's a fatal blow. But Ace just lets everybody know, thank you for loving me. And it's such a touching moment, and it destroys Luffy. From that moment on, Luffy is done. But Whitebeard at that moment, he is getting destroyed. Not only does Ace die, now Blackbeard pops out of nowhere, goes into a black orb with Whitebeard, comes out of the orb, and seems to have stolen his powers. So Blackbeard has 2 devil fruit powers. So at that moment, Whitebeard says, you know, the One Piece is real and the old era is over, you know. But now at that very moment, it's a frenzy to see who is now going to be the top of the One Piece world, you know, who's going to be the king of the pirates, basically. But, you know, something does happen. Kobe, somebody who Luffy starts the entire story off with, actually stands up to the guy that kills Ace, to the admiral that kills Ace. And at that moment you realize, damn, he shouldn't have said anything, he's about to get clapped. But this actually got a pop out of me. I thought it was really cool. Shanks came and saved Kobe, and that's why we have Shanks here with Ace and Whitebeard and Jinbei. So before this, they said that Ace was fighting Kaido. We haven't seen Kaido yet, but that's gonna be really cool when that happens. So Shanks finally comes and saves Kobe, and that really got a pop out of me. And since Shanks popped up, the Navy retreats and they have to cover up the entire story. And by the way, they were showing it on TV, but the signal cut. But every now and again, it cut back in with Captain Buggy. You know, throughout this battle, Captain Buggy was just winning over the pirates, just like Hercule, with so many crazy circumstances. And then remember, Buggy and Shanks know each other, so Buggy just becomes a legend. But after Ace, you know, is destroyed, Luffy is incapacitated. But thanks to the goodwill of everybody we've met, Jinbei and everyone, they gotta save Luffy. But somebody that we've met a couple arcs ago in Sabaody, Law pulls up in his submarine with the rest of his crew, and they said bring Luffy with us, and basically they say that Boa Hancock is gonna follow them, but they have to make it there first. So they do make it there and they dip, and just like that, the era is over and we're on to a new era. So that is my review. After that, I like what happens next. Boa Hancock says that she's gonna allow Law and his crew onto the Amazon Lily Island, and they're gonna revive, you know, Luffy. And from there, it goes into a flashback of Ace and Garp and Luffy, and then we get introduced to a new character, Sabo, and you also get to see everything about Luffy's and Ace's childhood. But that's where I gotta stop the review for this time. Guys, this is where One Piece gets really good. Like I said, in the beginning of Impel Down, it makes you want to go back and see all these characters that come back, but Impel Down is such a big arc. I think it influences other animes to make such grand arcs like this. But one more thing I will say is this is such a big part of One Piece, it's hard to not have the big moment spoiled for you. But also, how I was exposed to this part was One Piece 3D XY or 2D Y, or you guys might know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure that the beginning of that movie shows this whole Impel Down sequence really amazingly animated and everything. So that's how I saw it, but it was so crazy and I liked it so much, and it was a long time ago. I didn't continue the movie, I just saw the intro and I was like, okay, that's crazy. So I didn't want to get more spoiled. But it's nuts, guys. It is crazy. I can't wait to see what happens next. Let me know what you guys thought of my review. Again, this is me, GOCARLO. Rest in peace, Ace. No way, you know what I just noticed? This figure doesn't have the back tattoo. Whitebeard, it's the end of an era, man. I really hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm really enjoying One Piece, and I'll be back with more reviews as I read it. Again, this is my first time reading One Piece, and I jump back and forth between the anime and the manga. So let me know about you guys if you enjoyed the manga or the anime. And we're getting through it, guys. We're on book 60, so we're halfway through, more than halfway through. But remember, the series just keeps getting longer. So anyways, guys, until next time, that has been my review of Impel Down, Marineford, the Paramount War, one of the most classic, best arcs of One Piece. Hell yeah.